Welcome back to the channel. My name is Chris. I live in Zone 4 outside of Minneapolis. It is a very hot and humid end of August day. It's about 7 o'clock at night and I thought we'd take a little tour. I've been working in my border in my birdshade garden. It is a moon type of garden with lots of light. Let's take a look at how it's coming along. Some things went pretty good. Other things I need to change for next year. Stay tuned and we'll go through that right now. So this is my birdcage garden room, and from my house the view is really quite spectacular, especially when I'm on the second story looking down. If I step down here we can see what I've got. I've got two little borders here on each side. There's some green velvet boxwood here which grows super slow, and so to put a pop of color in I put a little cosmos in here. This is a pure white variety. And I can see I got some deadheading to do as well. And then when you enter, I've got a weeping cherry there, and I've got a magnolia here. But the center stage in this garden is truly this bird cage, which is why we call it the birdcage garden. And I'm working on getting some vines to climb up over it, because you can't have a gazebo with having climbing vines, right? One of the vines on here is a blue moon wisteria. It bloomed for me in June, and then we did some pruning on it and we're training it. The other thing that I have growing here, you can see this heart-shaped flower. This is a white morning glory. I'm looking forward to the morning glory actually coming into bloom. Thought I saw some little flowers like right here. Like right here, you can see these. So maybe in another week or two they'll be blooming and I'll come do another tour. So I've had a significant problem with rabbits this year. I got a rabbit cage there to try to trap, and then I'll relocate them. I had really nice white petunias in here and they ate those off. They're chewing on the dusty miller. They're not supposed to eat dusty miller, but you can see they're removing the bottom leaves. So it's been kind of a painful summer for me, and I'm learning what I need to do. I just gave it a spray of liquid vent, so hopefully that helps. Some of my traditional methods are not working. The opening on this side, I have a pair of topiaried arborvitaes here, just in some containers, and I have some nice dianthus, which is nice and white. We're at the end of season, so I've just recently came in and sheared these to try to get another flush of blooms on them. I planted clematis on all the other posts, so I have 5 clematis in here, and this one is in bloom. This is it's called True Blue, and to me it looks more purple, but that one's called True Blue. And I had a real problem with the rabbits coming in, and they chewed my vines, most of them. So some of them are coming back. The other ones I may not get to see till next year. But I've got some nice blooms coming. This is the second flush of blooms on this clematis. As I continue to go around the gazebo, I've got different containers setting up high, again, to keep the rabbits out of it. And then this is just a very lovely New Guinean patient. I think it's a New Guinean patient and not a sun patient. I was looking to see if I had tags and I'm not seeing them, or they're stuck in there somewhere. But I think this is a New Guinean patient, and it can tolerate this full sun just fine. And I really like how dark it is. I'm probably going to overwinter this. It's very tuberous. It should overwinter fine if I take care of it. Just looking to see if I can find a tag. I don't see a tag. And the other thing I have in here that's not in bloom right now is a butterfly bush, which is sharing the container. I just cut that back and that'll come again, no problem. As I continue around, you can see where I do have a couple of the petunias that are still in here, but most of them are chewed off by the rabbits. They're gone. Here's another white impatient, and the thing I like about this is it's bright white, and then the foliage is really dark green, and I think the contrast of the two colors is really nice. And here you can see the fuchsia butterfly bush I suppose a white butterfly bush would be better, but I think having just a small pop of color, but it's fine as long as I keep the main color to the white theme that I'm trying to do for the moon garden. As we come around, you can see on each side we have these gorgeous cosmos. I grew these cosmos from seed. I don't remember what variety it is, just a white cosmos. I wanted pure white, and then I'm collecting seeds so I can grow them again next year. The interesting thing about cosmos is that it likes to grow straight up and down, but I had a windstorm that came through, and anytime you have plant material, it could be trees or shrubs, or in this case these are annuals, and they get knocked over, then what will happen is it will offset and start the lateral growth buds growing straight up, and it ultimately made the cosmos more bushy, which is really kind of neat. So there's another cosmos hiding in there. The bunnies had chewed that one off, and here the bunnies chewed this one off, and I'm still hoping to see some bunnies chewed this one off, and I'm still hoping to see some growth. If I continue around here where it's tight, you know, the bunnies didn't chew them, but even on the other side, when the cosmos were small, the bunnies chewed those off too. So if the bunnies don't like something and it's really tiny and tender, they tend to eat it anyway, is what I'm finding. And when it gets bigger, they don't. So here's another clematis that I have in here. And this one is growing nice. I'll get to see what color this is. I don't know. We'll see when it opens. And then I have blueberries in containers in here, again, just to keep them away from the rabbits. I had overwintered these blueberries last year, and I had two levels of fence going around them, and it didn't matter. The bunnies actually chewed through because it was plastic fencing instead of metal. So this winter I am going to be moving my blueberries into my metal fenced garden, and we'll probably put even another layer of metal fencing around them because I don't want them chewing off my blueberries. I'm just about ready. Probably next week I'm going to start doing some pruning on these, and I'm going to do some propagations, so that'll be interesting. So as we walk through the bird cage, you can kind of get my perspective coming through here. Then you have an opening across going into my pavilion area. So there's grapes on the grapevine fence there, and then another opening. This border, like everything else I have, I'm trying to follow a moon garden type of theme, which I have as many white flowers and plants that I can have. One of the evergreens I decided to add to this is this Moonglow Juniper, because of course it's lighter in color. You can see when it contrasts against the grass behind it and by the cosmos beside it. 3 different peonies in here which are not in bloom right now, and they were just spectacular earlier in the year. And I have 2 Limelight Hydrangeas, which I've had for a couple of years, and I just finally planted them. Sometimes I buy things and keep them in containers for a while. So I got one on each end, and I think that looks pretty good. So one of the things I wanted to get is some annuals in here to add the color, because finding white flowering perennials that will stay all year is not as good as maybe the annuals would be. So I chose some annuals thinking that would be more beneficial. However, this is a marigold which was supposed to be white, called Eskimo, and it's definitely more yellow, unfortunately. So I will not be putting these in next year, and I'm going to instead replace these with some white snapdragons, which are supposed to be deer and bunny resistant. So hopefully that will work for me. Oddly enough, people think that marigolds are bunny resistant, and they kept chewing them off. I just took fences off these, but I had a bunch of them in here, maybe 10, and they kept chewing them to the ground. So I actually had them fenced until just today. I'm at like August 20th. It's towards the end of August. And this is a nice fern leaf bleeding heart that I had in here that's got a nice white bloom on it. And then I've got these cone flowers and these I just got, and these ones are called Powwow White, and they're just really quite lovely. And the nice thing about coneflowers for me, this variety is going to stay pretty compact. It's not going to spread, and that's what I'm looking for, are varieties that will stay put, so I don't have to do a lot of extra maintenance on them. I'm looking to try to make this as low maintenance as possible. Then I also grew some white delphiniums from seed, which you can see the delphinium back there. Grew those from seed, and I had a heck of a time with them. They're also supposed to be deer and bunny resistant, but I kept losing them. Now, that could have been slugs. This is a heavy, wet clay, unfortunately. We've had significant rain this year. I bet we've had double the rain that we usually get, which is great for the plants, but when you have clay soil, it can be really wet. As we continue on the tour, you'll see why that's the case. I will eventually put a decent path in, steppers or gravel. For right now, I just left mulch in there, and it looks discolored because I just turned it over. I had a big pile, and I'm kind of just finishing this garden now. So on each edge of this path, I have dappled willows, and I've pruned them back. I'll continue to prune them back and to try to keep them into the shape that I want. I may actually go in and do a really hard prune and try to make standards out of them, but for right now, I'm enjoying getting cuttings from them. As I stated, I have this terrible clay soil, and I have these poppies. These are called royal wedding poppies, which are white, and poppies do not like wet. So I don't know if they're going to make it or not. Some of them are looking pretty sad, but I did get at least a couple of seed heads off them, and I am going to take that seed and try to grow some poppies from seed in the spring to see if I can be able to reproduce some extras, just because it was such a wet year. This is a white lilac. Again, I want to prune this into standard form, so I'm going to probably go in next spring and prune it pretty hard and just try to get to a standard one stick on it, and make it a lollipop form. Here I have more of these marigolds. I have 2 more marigolds, and they're huge, and I'm going to replace these with that white snapdragon next year. And if I find any other really pure white flowers, I may do that too. If you have suggestions on pure white flowers that would go really well in my moon garden, please let me know in the comments. I just don't want them to be this yellow color. Luckily, the limelights are good enough. You know, hydrangeas, it really doesn't. What I'm not going to put in this border next year is going to be these cosmos, and the reason why is I don't like the color of green, how it offsets off the Moonglow Junipers. I really like that whitish blue color of the Moonglow Junipers, and in one season the cosmos is crazy. I mean, that's how tall it got because we've had so much rain, and I just don't want that in here. So when we're done for the season, when the frost takes them, I will cut them off, but I will continue to put the cosmos around my birdcage garden because I think it kind of flutters in the wind, and it just looks really dainty, and it fits there. It just does not fit in this border. Here I also have some more delphiniums here, but like I said, the bunnies or slugs, something took them out. And I had other lilies in here. Bunnies chewed those to the ground. I had a mock orange in here. Bunnies chewed that to the ground. So it's been a tough year for my Moonglow garden. This is an interesting problem. This is a little crabapple. Look at that white fuzz. Look at the mold I've got growing on my crabapple tree. I've never had that before. Like I said, it's so wet. Look at this fungus that's growing in there. That's crazy. So I'm going to hit that with some copper fungicide to try to see if I can save it. And I'm going to pull this mulch back. But yeah, it was really wet, and I've just never seen that before. If you've had that problem, please let me know in the comments and what you do to treat it. Let me know in the comments, do you grow white flowers, or do you have your own moon garden? What flowers are your favorites in your moon garden? Let me know in the comments. If this video was helpful, give us a thumbs up so YouTube knows to share this content with others. Also consider subscribing so you don't miss any of our other great videos. If you like garden tours, check this playlist next. Thanks for stopping by. Have a great day.